Hi, I'm Rajat. I'm a software developer at Amazon. I've also been mentoring students at Newton School for the past 6 months. I want to tell a little bit about Newton School and then we'll start into learning JavaScript. Newton School is a platform which prepares you for career in tech. It has courses designed for freshers, working professionals, and also for women with no technical background. Newton School first trains you for 6 months and helps you become amazing full stack developers. It also has a network of more than 300 great companies who hire from Newton School. So once the training is complete, Newton School also ensures that its students are placed with some of the best companies in the country. And the best part is the Newton School has a pay after placement policy under which you don't have to pay Newton School anything until and unless you are placed with a minimum 5 lakh CTC. Launchpad is an initiative taken by Newton School for people who want to start coding from scratch and learn the basics of different programming languages absolutely for free. This video would also be available in Launchpad section of Newton School. There you can practice several quizzes and assignments related to this course. Let's learn JavaScript now. Throughout this course, I expect a basic understanding of HTML. In case you want to brush up your concepts, feel free to do that. We will be building a very simple counter app and it will look like this. This is the counter app. So when I click on count, it will keep on incrementing the count and I can go and reset the count. Okay. This is our sample application that will look like. It will look better with CSS, but I kept it out of scope. And we'll just be focusing on JavaScript part of this application. In this video, we will see how we can run JavaScript code on your computer, how we can see output of that program. We will see how we can store numbers in our program and how we can manipulate those numbers. Okay, let's learn how we can run the JavaScript code on your system. For that, I'll create a new file and paste HTML skeleton here, which I expect you guys to be familiar with already, and use this to showcase how we can run HTML JavaScript code in this. So I created this HTML file, skeleton file, and I want to run JavaScript in it. All I have to do is I create a script tag, and that's it. Whatever I write in this script tag, it will be JavaScript. For example, this is a JavaScript statement which is supposed to say hi. Okay, and when I run this, see the page says hi. This is one way to run your code, and another way would be that we can have a separate file altogether for JavaScript only, and then include that file in the HTML file so that it runs along with our page. So I'll go ahead and create a JavaScript file here. You can see that I'm naming it .js. This is how we name all the JavaScript files. I'll move this code from script tag to this and give a src attribute. Src is nothing but source, like what is the source where the code is, and we give script.js. So in this case, script.json is in the same directory. It's on the same desktop, right, as the index.html. In case we have it at a different directory, we'll have to give directory name and its complete path. For example, it is sitting in users/home/directories. We'll have to give that kind of name for it to work. For now, I think it's fine. Since it's the same directory, we can just run it like that. Let's go and run this file again. So yeah, it still says hi. A better way that I feel would be to practice JavaScript. You don't want to get into this mess, right? Creating these new files and all. You just want to fiddle around with JavaScript and see how that coding language works. And probably when you're ready to build your own project, you can have this all these file structures and see how that program runs the way we discussed before. But to learn JavaScript, just want to play around with that language. I think this Launchpad is great way to do it. You can click on Start Now here. You have to create an account. When you log in, you'll see this playground and you see the playground, you can choose the markup playground and create a new playground and write whatever code it's there. Let me make you familiar with that as well. I have created this playground for myself, which is just specific to this video. You can see that you have HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You don't have to include any JavaScript file into this HTML. Everything will be done by default. And JavaScript is also separated from HTML. Like all the files are separated. They are not really tied up together. It makes things easier to manage. So I think that this is a good way to practice JavaScript. We'll be using this throughout the course here. Okay, let's get into and see how we can see the output of our program. So let me tell you a little bit about program. What is a program? Program is nothing but a set of instructions, that set of things that we tell the computer to do using this language, which is JavaScript. Just before we get into that, I want to stress upon a point that there's no point in doing theory without practicing. You have to get your hands dirty and do that hands-on thing. Only then you will grasp the concepts in JavaScript or in any other language for that matter. Even the spoken languages, right? You don't really learn them by just listening. You just have to speak and you have to try it out. That is the way to learn it. Same is the case with any of the computer languages. So yeah, I do want to stress upon this point that please practice it. Okay, so let's see how we can see the output of our program. Okay, there is a statement called console.log, which looks like this. And whatever we write in this parenthesis will be shown as an output. And we can see that output. You can see that there is something called inspect, and there is a console tab. This is where the output of console.log goes. Whatever you write, let's say we write 10. You can see that we are getting a 10 here. So whatever you'll be writing, let's say I want to write hi. Then again, you'll see hi coming up on this console. This is one statement to see what the output of the program is. The other one is this alert statement, right? This alert statement, we already saw that in the previous topic. Whenever we wrote a hi in this alert, this is making the page say hi. So these are the two ways that I just wanted to discuss to see the output of that program. I think this will help you to see what you have written and what the computer is doing with the instructions that you have given to it. Now that we know how to get output of the program, let's try to see how we can store numbers. We have to build a counter, right? So we need some way to store numbers, and we have a construct called variables in JavaScript, which can be used to store numbers. Variables, as you know, are something that varies, and that is what exactly these variables are. We define a variable with a var keyword, and then any name can go with this var keyword. Let's say counter. So with this statement, I created a variable, and this variable can store any number that I want. When I want this variable to store some number, I can say counter is equal to, let's say, 0, and then semicolon. Semicolon marks the end of a statement. Just a reminder, we were talking about a program is a set of instructions, and we have started writing a program now only. So we have these two instructions that we have given to this computer. First says that, okay, declare, create a variable, and the second one stores value in that variable. From now on, you don't have to use the number 0 to refer to this value. You can just refer the value for this using the counter variable. And let's also see the output for it. Okay. Console.log counter. So you get a 0 here. And now let's do some manipulation of this variable. Okay. We just want to increment this value by 1. Just remove this. So, yeah, while we are at it, these double slashes tell the program that you don't have to run these lines. You can just ignore it. This is called a comment. And you can just add a double slash to mark that comment. Now let's say we want to increment a counter. Increment is just adding 1. Okay. This will add 1 to the value of counter, but it won't really store it back into the counter. So to store it back, you just define equal. Another way to write it is counter plus plus. It's the same thing, just a different way to do it. So now that we have this, let's see the output of the program. So we did this plus 1 2 times. One in this format, one in this. Let's just run it once. Okay, my bad. I had to add a console.log to get the output. So you can see that the value is incremented by 1. Let's say I increment this now. The value should be incremented by 2. Once by the statement number 11, once by statement number 12. So we should get a 2. Yes, and that's what we got. So you can do the same with increment, like -1. You can guess it, right? This will reduce the value of counter by 1, but won't really define. It won't really update the value for counter. It will just reduce the value and not really update the value, remain the same. To do that, we have a similar expression for this decrementing minus minus. So this should bring the counter to -2. Okay. Let me just keep these statements here itself. So this will increment it by 2 and this will decrement it by 2. And let's add one more to see the difference. We should get a -1 now. Right, so we get a -1. This will be used in our counter app, and so you can link it this way that when we click on count button, it will add 1 to the counter. If we click on reset, it will set it back to 0. You can imagine how can we set it back to 0, right? That's it. That's it. That will update the value of counter at 0. This ties back to the concept that these are variables. The values keep changing. You can keep changing the value for these variables. And we also have these mathematical. These will not be mathematical operators. These will not be used directly in your program for the counter app. But I think it would make sense for me to discuss these right now. So I create 2 variables now. We need 2 variables to run this operation. It's a GM, second number. And you just want to add those 2 numbers. It will be very simple. Like as anyone would write it. We'll just add it, but this result is not stored anywhere. Then we again have to make it like this. For result is equal. We create a new variable. So see that whenever I updated the value, I did not use the var keyword. It was just once when I wanted to declare that variable. I never need it again. Whenever I create a new variable, only then this var keyword is required. Like for example, I create this result variable, I use this and add these two numbers and store them in the result. Let's see the output of these. Let me remove the other console statements. Right. So yeah, you can see that they are added up. You have a 7 number stored in the result variable. You can obviously make all these operations work for any variable, result, first number, second number. The name does not matter. It's just an alias with which you want to refer that number. You can use any variable, any name. Fine. You can even use XYZ. It won't really matter. So now we did addition. Let's do multiply. Multiply will again be very simple. This is the star operator which is used to multiply numbers. And multiplier store them in this. I should get a number which is 12. 12 should be stored in my result now. So I'm going to see what is stored in multiplier. Now the 12 is stored in my multiplier. Similarly, you can divide it. Let's see how division works. It'll be interesting, right? Because division will have some decimal part to it. Let's see if that decimal part is stored in this division result. First is 3 by 4 is 0 point something. Let's see if it is stored or not. Yeah, I saw that. It was stored 0.75. It is getting stored, right? That's how division works. And let's see about modulus. Modulus is nothing but it finds the remainder upon division. For example, that I divide second number, sorry, modulus second number by first number, I get a remainder 1. So 4 is equal to 3 into 1 plus 1. I get a remainder 1. And modulus should be storing 1. So these were some basic operations that we can do with our program. And that's it. I go on to this playground, practice it out. Well, that's it for this video. We are one step closer to our counter app, and we will learn functions in the next video and see how things will come together in the counter app. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it made sense to you. If you have any questions, you can post those questions in the comments below.